Hi, I'm Kerry. I'm the host of bestofusinvestors.com, and I want to share with you my enthusiasm about owning Facebook stock. I currently own about $82,000 of it. It represents 9.8% of my portfolio, and I'm happy I own it. It's been good to me thus far, and I think it's going to be even better for me in the future. I've learned that Facebook is moving its operation into both FinTech and Biotech. And I want to share with you what I've learned about it and my interpretation of it and how I think it's going to affect Facebook in the future and why I will continue to hold roughly 10% of my portfolio in Facebook. I think they are a product or a stock of the future, a company of the future, and I think they're going to continue to grow within the technology that they own, and now they're venturing out to fields that they don't own. Today I'm going to talk about their FinTech movement. Tomorrow I'll talk about their biotech movement and how I think it's going to affect them today and in the future and why I think you should own it. So stick with me. We'll get into that in just a moment.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
Okay. If you've seen some of my past videos, I have been learning more and more about disruption and how it takes place because I want to become a billionaire and I want to disrupt an industry that I have identified that is ripe for disruption. I think another one that I am not in a position to disrupt is the banking industry. And I think we have seen that in the form of Bitcoin and Cardano and multiple other coins. And we have seen it in Square and PayPal. People who are taking technology and stepping into the FinTech the FinTech world and basically becoming a threat to many of the segments of the banking industry. And I became aware from an article that I read that Facebook is making a move in that direction. Now, I knew that last year, 2 years ago, they tried to do this with a coin or a currency called Libra. And they were going to key it or base it on a basket of international currencies and make it available, and they were going to partner with MasterCard and Visa and several other companies to make this happen. Well, Congress just blew up on it and said, no, you're trying to create an alternative currency to the American dollar, and we're not going to let you do it. We're going to burden you with regulations. And they basically, first of all, MasterCard and Visa stepped away and said, no, don't think we want to spend much more time on this. And so they walked away, and Facebook basically did the same. But they moved over, and they started to create something a little different. And this one they're going to call Diem, Diem, and it is going to be keyed to the American dollar. So the American dollar, the Congress is kind of okay with that. They are basically working with Switzerland to put a payment system provider, a PSP together license. And that'll take a matter of weeks. Well, now, why are they getting into this? Well, I think we go back to the 6 Ds of disruption of an industry, and the first one is digitalization, and that is much as Facebook has digitalized the magazine advertising world and created it as a platform that you can put your pictures on and you can advertise your family to your friends and family. And at the same time, ads show up. They digitalized the magazine world. Google digitalized the search, and Wikipedia digitalized the encyclopedia. You don't see encyclopedia salesmen walking up and down the streets, Britannica and Collier's. They're gone. That industry is gone. We digitalized the photographic industry. Kodak, Polaroid are gone. And so what is going to happen in the banking industry is we're going to change it. So what Facebook has recognized is they have a instant market available to them through their existing daily users. And with that available, they want to make financial transactions easier. Now, you might say, I don't really need that financial transaction to be any easier. Well, let me give you some practical experience I've had. I deal with people in other countries. Jack lives in the Netherlands. Jack does my thumbnails, produces, edits, and puts up my videos. I will take this video and I will upload it onto my computer and then send it to Jack. And I pay him for doing that. I also paid him. He did a piece where he actually went out and did some of the video work and for a game that we were promoting. And so I paid him for that. So last month, over the period of the month, I made 2 payments to Jack, and they totaled roughly $5,000. Yesterday, Jack shared with me that those transactions cost him on his ends €300. Yeah, we did it through PayPal. Cost him €300 to receive the money in his bank account, and then to convert it to euros. And to put that in perspective, that's roughly $361.92. Jack paid to receive those 2 payments totaling $5,000. Does he feel good about it? No, he doesn't. Well, what if Facebook made it available to him that he could do this, and he could basically just go on Facebook, or I could go on Facebook and say, send these 2 payments to Jack, and there was no cost to it. What? There'd be no cost to it. Well, why would Facebook do that? They want the data. They want the data. Facebook is going to basically say, wait a second, we want to do this for you and for Carrie and Jack, but wait a second, we need to make sure who you are. And it's the Know Your Customer rule. It's called the KYC. And then the Anti-Money Laundering Compliance. That's a AML, Anti-Money Laundering Compliance. These are some steps that financial institutions need to jump through. In order to do that, they need to basically say, we're protecting to make sure we're not laundering money. So what are they going to do for that? Well, they're going to ask Jack and I both to prove we are who we are. And that will probably entail us sending a photo of our driver's license or our passport, giving our social security numbers, and pictures of our faces, and other just biometrics. Okay, it might even be a fingerprint. I don't know. Why does Facebook want that? Well, I would ask you, why do they want pictures of your grandkids? Why do they want you conversing with all your friends and family? Because it's data. And if you watch my prior videos, you know that data is the gold. And right now, data is the gold coming out of my backyard. And you and I are giving it to Facebook. And in exchange, they're giving us the ability to communicate with our friends and our family and receive ads from them. That's the exchange. And we're okay with it. Okay? Well, the same thing they're saying, they're going to eliminate that €300 cost that Jack received if we both have a Facebook page and I click a button and say, send this to Jack, and Jack receives it in his account, and it costs nothing. No, they may charge a little bit, but it's going to be a lot less than €300. You see where they're going with this and why they're doing it and why it's so important? They are going to disrupt the financial industry. Look at the financial industry. You make a mistake, like you overdraft an account, what do? They punish you. They fine you, give you a late fee and then a service fee. And try to get in touch with them. Try to call them up and say, hey, I have a question about this. Well, that's not our department. We'll have to switch you over to another department. And you wait in line and listen to their crazy music again. This is not the world we want to live in. So Facebook has recognized that, and they are going to give you a payment services provider that you're comfortable with because and the government, the Congress is comfortable with it because it's earmarked against the dollar. We're not trying to put the dollar out of business. We're working with it. Facebook is. So this is why I think you need to own Facebook. I first got onto Facebook and several others as I learned the power of their data, what data was all about, and what artificial intelligence was all about. I learned about it in this book, Amy Webb's Big Nine. How there are basically 9 companies in the world that are controlling all of our data, and if we will invest in those companies, they're going to make us wealthy. Now, again, think about why didn't somebody else come up with this? It's because Facebook has the money to make this happen. Facebook has already billions of daily active users. That's with a B. Billions all over the world. Now, you may not have any issues with transferring money, but Juan does. Juan is the guy who cuts my grass. He cuts a lot of people's grass. And Juan's family, his parents, live in Mexico. And I know that Juan sends money to his mother in Mexico. And my understanding is Juan uses Western Union. And it costs Juan depending upon the amount that he sends his mother, on his end, it costs between $15 and $30 to send money to his mother. When his mother receives it, whatever she receives, it's 10% plus a minimal fee. So if he sends her $1,000 this month, he's going to pay, say, $30 on his end, and she's going to pay probably $110 on her end. Okay, do you think Juan has a Facebook page? Do you think maybe his mother has a Facebook page? How do you think Juan will feel, and what do you think he will do if he finds he and his mother can save somewhere around $120 from this $1,000 transaction? I think he's all over it. Now, you say, yeah, but he may not want to give his driver's license and his photo, and his mother do the same. He may not want to do that. Do you remember when Amazon first started and they said they wanted your credit card information? And you said, no, I'm not going to use anything where I put my credit card information out there in the public. How long did you resist putting your credit card information on the internet? Now, you may, like I have a friend, and she has one credit card that she only uses on the internet. She doesn't let the other credit cards make their way to the internet, and that's okay. But how long did it take you to roll over and say, okay, I'm all right with that? And again, there's some of you who say, oh, I'm never going to get on Facebook. Billions of people do. And they are anxious to communicate with their friends and their family. And now Facebook's going to give them a way to transfer their money and make it easy for billions of people. So this is why I think you should, like me, invest in Facebook. Yeah, they have some problems about privacy issue and hate speech and things like that, but they're adjusting to that. I read an article in yesterday's Wall Street Journal about they're banning people for some silly things. One guy said, to his friend, you're just spewing craziness. And it probably had something to do with a controversial statement that his friend made. Well, he got banned from posting for spewing craziness for 3 days. That tells me they've got an algorithm that's checking things and matching things and not arbitrarily, but saying that needs to be banned. It wasn't looked at by a human being. And should we expect that billions of people's daily spewings are looked at by a human being? No, they're looked at by an algorithm, and they'll work their way through that. I just think you should know that if Facebook isn't in your portfolio, it should be. It's going to give you, from now until the foreseeable future, probably a 17 to 20% annualized return, because it's got the money, it's got the power, it's got the ability to change the world we live in. And that's what I want to invest in, and that's what I suggest you invest in. And if you're worried about someone getting your information, do what I do. My home channel I'm safe with. My phone, yeah, I'm out in the public with it. And my laptop, when I'm traveling, yeah, I'm out in the public with it. Well, get yourself a virtual private network. Decided to go with, Sharkfin or FinShark? Yeah, there's a link to it right below. Yeah, it's a affiliate. I'll get paid something for it. But I think if you're using your computer out in public, you need to have a virtual private network. Okay, look for it in the description. So, Facebook, tomorrow I'm going to tell you about something else they're doing. They're getting into biotech. And I want you to understand why and how they're going to put it together. So tune in tomorrow, and I'll give you chapter 2 on Facebook. Until then, have a wonderful weekend, and hope the sun is shining in your neighborhood like I hope it is in mine, and we all have a prosperous life. Talk to you later.